Picture this, the exact same nitrosamine in the exact same drug substance and three different regulators asking for three different justifications before they'll sign off on the same acceptable intake limit. This is not a hypothetical, it's Tuesday for anyone running a multi-market nitrosamine risk assessment. Hello, I'm Raghuveer Singh Parmar, Director Scientific Affairs at Resolve Mass Laboratories, and we work with pharma and biotech teams to build nitrosamine risk assessment that actually hold up across FDA, EMA and Health Canada submissions. Today, in about 8 minutes, we are comparing how these regulators really differ, ideally, technically and procedurally. This is the informative video presented by Resolve Mass Laboratories. It's worth remembering these three frameworks all trace back to the same event when the 2018 valsartan finding broke. FDA, EMA and Health Canada were all reacting to the identical underlying chemistry, the same NDMA, the same tetrazole ring side reaction, but they didn't respond in lockstep. EMA opened a formal Article 5.3 referral in 2019. FDA issued its own guidance in 2020. Health Canada finalized its guidance a year after that. Same trigger, three different separate clocks. And that timing gap is where a lot of today's divergence actually started. So where do the three actually agree on the chemistry? All three regulators anchor their limits to the same ICH M7R2 framework treating NDMA, NDEA and NMBA, the so-called cohort of concern, as probable human carcinogen with acceptable intake limits measured in nanogram per day. If your risk assessment only touches these three compounds, the regulatory story is nearly identical everywhere you file. Something most comparisons skip over is that the real divergence doesn't live here at all. It lives one level down in how each regulator treats NDSRIs, the drug substance specific nitrosamines that don't have decades of toxicology behind them. That divergence starts with the legal mechanism itself. FDA works through guidance influential but not legally binding on its own, enforced case by case through NDA and ANDA correspondence and inspection findings. EMA works completely differently. Its nitrosamine review runs through an Article 5.3 referral, a formal legally binding procedure that applies across the entire EU in one motion. Health Canada sits in between, pairing a guidance document with a series of phased stakeholder notices. Same expectations, three different levers pulling it into the places. Where it gets genuinely technical is NDSRI methodology. FDA's original interim default limit for uncategorized NDSRI was strict until its 2023 guidance. Revision introduced the carcinogenic potency categorization approach, a class-based read-across method that lets many NDSRIs land on a less punishing limit than the original blanket default. EMA was slower to move away from case-by-case toxicological review, through it has converged towards similar read-across thinking more recently. Health Canada pragmatically tends to default to whichever of the two is more conservative unless a sponsor brings independent justifications. Line up the differences and you get 5 dimensions that actually matter for a filing: legal mechanism, NDSRI methodology, deadlines, product scope, and reporting channel. EMA's deadlines are procedural and fixed once a referral step opens. FDA's timing is more correspondence driven, tied to your specific application, not a blanket date. Health Canada's notices set expectations in phases. None of this changes the chemistry, all of it changes what your regulatory affairs team actually has to produce and when. You can see this play out in real submissions. The original Sartan recalls landed in different waves across the US, EU, and Canada, depending on local surveillance triggers. A single NDSRI has in practice carried a stricter interim limit in one jurisdiction than another. Same molecule, same drug substance, different number on the page. At Resolve Mass, we have built master nitrosamine risk assessments for sponsors who tried to run 3 separate country-specific evaluations in parallel and lost months reconciling contradictions that one harmonized document would have avoided from the start. One risk assessment. So, what does a harmonized approach actually look like? 5 steps: map every guidance that applies to your markets, regulatory markets, apply the strictest acceptable intake limit across all of them as your working baseline, document the regional rationale anywhere you deviate, confirm your analytical method covers the most sensitive limit in the set, then file one master risk assessment with a short regional annex for each regulator's specific formatting and reporting expectations rather than 3 unrelated documents. So, what should you walk away with today's session? FDA, EMA, and Health Canada share the same ICH M7R2 foundation for the cohort of concern. That's first point. They diverge on legal mechanism, NDSRI methodology, deadlines, and scope. NDSRIs, not NDMA, NDEA, or common nitrosamines, are where real disagreement lives. And one harmonized master assessment beats 3 separate ones every time. In the coming videos, we'll go inside an actual nitrosamine risk assessment and walk through exactly what regulators expect to see in the file. If you are managing a multi-market submission and need a CRO partner who can build one nitrosamine risk assessment that holds up across FDA, EMA, and Health Canada instead of 3 that contradict each other, Resolve Mass Laboratory supports small and mid-sized pharma teams through exactly that kind of harmonized filing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe this channel so you don't miss this kind of informative videos. You can also drop a comment if you want a specific guidance on specific guideline or pharma, peptide characterization, or mass spectrometry related topics. We will try our best to cover them up. Thank you so much for watching this session and see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye for now.